We're back working on the Lexus today. We're getting ready to get the car blue slipped, as you know. So these red BC coils are what was in the car before, on the front and on the rear. You cannot get a car blue slipped in Australia with this setup. Adjustable coils are not actually legal to run on the road either, so you definitely won't be able to get them blue slipped with these on. Blue slipping is all about safety. These are not safe. I've gone online and I've bought a set. So these two black ones here and this one on this side are from a JZX 100, and I ordered this suspension set from Japan. The other and these two red ones over here, as well as one that's on the car, are from a SC 400 or a Toyota Sora, as they're known in some places. So these are racing ones that will not fit because, as you can see, the bottom, this doobie does not match up with what I need, which is those. These don't match up because the top hat section of these are not the right pattern. So unfortunately, the distance between these studs are all a bit small, so they don't quite match up. Luckily, the fronts of the Sora setup match exactly what I need, which is this one. So we're going to be throwing this one on the front. I've already done the driver's side. We're going to go around and do the passenger side together. As you can see, the Sora has like electronically adjustable shock absorbers, which don't come on this car. So we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. This is only going to be for a blue slip. Once we get it on the road, shh, don't tell the police this. Oh yeah, we're going to be putting these back on. Going to be putting the racing suspension back on. They're nice and stiff, adjustable height. They are a lot better. They're also new. Both of these sets that I've bought are 30 years at least old. These are new tech, new build. They might last a little bit longer, or they might not last as long rather than the stock ones, but they're going to perform better and they're going to last long enough for what I need them for. I've done the driver's side, as you can see in there. So we're going to jump around and do the passenger side right now. It's a little bit cramped on... Oh, yeah, bugger. It's a little bit cramped on this passenger side. So I'm going to film the best I can. I might do something and then stop and then keep going after that. But anyway, we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah. As a random safety tip, whenever I take off a tire, I put it under the car with my jacks and everything. If my jack stands fail, if my jack fails, the wheel will be there, the wheel can't fail. If it falls off everything, it'll land on the wheel, do some damage, but at least I'll be safe. So that's my random safety tip of the day. And I'm gonna put this under here. Oh. Let's see what we're touching. Oh, heaps of space. And there we go. If everything fails, the wheel will catch the car. Fingers crossed, because it's not going to drop down and crush me. As you can see as well, the brakes are pretty rusted. They used to look like this before. It's just surface rust, nothing to be worried about. These are still brand new. I've driven about 100 meters or so with these brakes on, if that. So we'll be getting these BC coils out. Might get a torch in here so you can see some shit. That's way better. I've put a light on the phone. That's sick. You can see that we've got the BC coils in at the moment, around all these spider webs and spiders, I'm sure. A little bit of a history about this car. So you can see there's some wrecker writing on this side. I've actually met the second last owner of this car. He loved the car, absolutely adored it. And what happened was he sold it with this side smashed in. Unfortunately, was in an accident in this car, and he sold the car with this right on the passenger side. Was a bit damaged. The wheel was pushed back. The car was kind of driving, but that's the condition he sold it. That's why this panel is a different color. That's why this bumper, which is the original bumper, is a little bit busted. That's the history of this side. This suspension component was actually repaired by the last owner that I bought it off. So he bought the car damaged. He spent just over $2,000 fixing up this whole suspension component bit kind of area. And it's all good now. Drives straight. It's really good. That's just a little bit of the history. So that's why you're seeing the writing here. Nothing that I'm really concerned about. When I bought it as a nugget. I wasn't really surprised. It was unfortunate to find extra damage and stuff that, you know, the buyer did mention, some stuff that I didn't really quite pick up on straight away. But at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. I like working on cars, so I'm more than happy to do all this work. So yeah, it's pretty fine. One thing that I'm noticing straight off the bat is I've bought a pad wear sensor for this side, and it looks like it doesn't actually have a pad wear sensor. This is, yeah, that's... So you can see this line comes down and goes behind the wheel right here. This is the wheel speed sensor, so this would be for ABS, any of that other rubbish. So on the opposite side, there's a sensor that comes off here and goes into one of the brake pads, into one of these little sockets here, either on this one or that one, and that will act as a pad wear sensor. So once that sensor comes into contact with the rotor, which is metal, it'll complete a circuit and it'll let you know on the dash that the pads need to be changed. You can buy pad wear sensor replacements, obviously, because they wear out. So I bought one for this side. I don't need it. As you can see, it's right there. I don't need it for this side because only the other side has one, which makes a lot of sense. Anyway, let's start. So what I've got to do is loosen up the top bolts, loosen up the bottom bolt. I'm going to have to take this king pin out, as well as this upper ball joint, and maybe the sway bar end link. I'll see what happens. Obviously, torque everything back down once it's, once I'm done. Oh, I heard it hit the ground, so that's okay. How good's the Ugg Dug? Oh yeah. Alright, so this is a castle nut, which has a pin in it. I think I called it a king pin before. That's not correct. Anyway, so this is a castle nut, and it has a pin going through it, and basically what this does, pretty self-explanatory, is it just kind of keeps it tight, keeps it on, keeps everything nice and safe. What we're gonna do is take this little off, make it oh, that was unsafe. Anyway, we're going to take it off. That was too easy. And then we're going to undo this nut. I think you'll find that once we get this nut off, it's not really going to go anywhere. Nothing's going to drop or anything. As you can see, we've just undone this nut. The nut's chilling here, but it's not coming off. I'll pull on it. Still stuck right here. So basically, this happens a lot. Happens with a lot of types of ball joints. Happens with sway bar end links. Happens with lots of things. So that's what this tool is for. I've actually got two. This tool does not fit in an LS400 in the top. This one. These jaws are too small. This jaw is too small. Won't fit in there. Not a good day in the office, but that's okay. Luckily, I've got this one as well. So we'll slot that right here. Do it up a little bit just to start it. And now it's ready to crank down on. Usually these kinds of things are built for this. As you can see, this has a little bit of an extra bar on each side that you can put a separator on, like this one. If you do this yourself, just leave the bolt on. You're not going to break anything. If you take the bolt off, you just send this straight through the roof and it will just not be a good day in the office. So just leave the bolt on. Same as if you're taking your steering wheel off, leave the bolt on before you pull it, otherwise you smash yourself in the snoz. In this case, the snoz is like the rest of your car, and I'd rather break my snoz than my car. So, well, in a stupid way like this. So I've got a 19mm dodgily hooked up to the bottom of this tool, and what we're going to want to do is just twist, and I'll keep twisting and you'll hear a big loud ding and it'll separate. That was pretty anticlimactic. Usually it's a big loud ding, but not today, because this was done recently. Nice little gentle donk there, but that's alright. I'm going to try and do this as elegantly as possible, but... Alright, there's something seriously wrong with this nut. It's not coming out. Oh, I know why. Alright, so... I'm dumb. As everyone knows, including myself, ball joints spin. They rotate on their axis, they rotate anyway. That's the whole purpose of a ball joint. They can go in any direction, and in that they can turn on their own axis. What I'm doing right now, as I'm spinning, the actual ball joint is spinning as opposed to just the bolt. What I'm gonna do is pull down on it and then twist just this. It'll firm up because I'm only spinning the nut off, and hopefully it'll be enough just to whiz it off. Maybe I'll put it in the whizzer. There we go. Nice push down. Then I can whiz it out the rest of the way, and there you go. So I've got the castle nut out. You can see why they're called a castle nut now. Looks like a little castle, which is a little bit cute. There we go. So I'm going to be really careful of this. If I let this fall, as you can see, the brake line's the first thing to get tensioned. That the wheel speed sensor. Apologies. So I'm going to hold this where it is and attempt to get this suspension component out, which is going to go my way. Oh yeah, look at that. It's out. Yay. Let's go get the new one and get that in. That was a nightmare. Quick reminder. This is for an SC400 or a Toyota Sora, which is basically the coupe version of this car, you could say. It was Toyota and Lexus's luxury coupe at the time. Comes with this same engine, the 1UZ, or the SC300 either came with a 2.5 litre 1J, either naturally aspirated or turbo, or I don't know which models came with a 1J and which came with a 2J. I'm sure some came with a 2J, I can't remember. I've definitely seen some photos with some, but maybe it's just some swaps that I've seen. But the SC400 came with this 4-litre 1UZ FE, the 4-litre V8, probably one of the most reliable engines ever made in a lot of mechanics' opinions. I'm not a mechanic, but I think it's reliable because I'd like to believe it because I bought the car. So the SC400, which this suspension component came out of, and the Lexus LS400, funnily enough, weigh just about exactly the same weight, meaning this suspension component should be a pretty good setup for this car. Again, it doesn't have to last me long. It's going to be in the car for not long. And then I'm going to take it back out again. But yeah, just got to pass a blue slip. Let's put this suspension component in. If this was easy, everyone would be modifying cars. This is tricky. What I like to do, what I did on the other side was feed it up through here, which is so challenging with these brake lines and everything breakable in the way. Hopefully I didn't break any of the brake components, but got it in. What I just did is slide the bottom through here enough so that I could get the top past these two things, move these out of the way, and then feed it up. That worked pretty well. Once I get it up, I held it up, and then I put a top nut in, then I put a top nut in, just to hold it all in one spot while I do the rest. This is the hard part. So when I pulled this suspension out, a little bit shorter. This one is a long boy, very, very long boy. We've got to get it into this slot right here. This is not gonna clear at all. This is completely not lining up at all how we want it to. What I'm gonna have to do is take this off, drop it, push the whole wheel assembly down to get the bottom section over this groove and then slip the bolt through, and then that's done. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to slide in the bolt from the front because cars go forward. So if the back bolt for some reason falls off, slips out, anything, the wind and the momentum is holding the nut in. Nothing's all going to fall apart straight away. If I stop and something's weird, like shaking or there's a funny noise coming, I can stop and check. And if that's the issue, at least I was able to stop and everything's still good. I'm still safe. I didn't run into anyone. So that's why I'm going to put the bolt in this way and then put the nut in on the backside. So yeah, I'm just going to drop this, push everything down, get it in the spot. I got the suspension in. I got the bolt in, which is hard. I got no tips. You just have to do it. You have to struggle. It's part of the game. I did take this little nut off, which allowed me to take this bracket off that holds the wheel speed sensor cable in, just because I kept dropping this and I'm worried I was going to damage it if I haven't broken it already. Got it in, got the bottom bracket in, and I put the castle nut back in as well as the retaining pin. Torque it down and then put the pin back in. The torque spec for the Kingpin, you can find all these torque specs on Google. This top one is like 48 foot-pounds. The bottom one is like 100 and something. I don't know. I just guessed because this only goes up to 80. And the top nuts, which I'm going to do right now, are torqued down to 28 Newton meters or something. Alright, I think it's about time to put the tie back on. That should be about it. I think that's it for the Lexus before I take it to get a blue slip. I'll put the wheel back on now and I'll do the rears as well. I'll do them in another video just so I can show the full kind of process. Alright, before I end the video, I figured that I'd show what it looks like lowered. There we go. Not bad. Pretty good stock height. Not complaining. Nice. It's not the best looking, of course, but it'll do. Pretty good height. Beautiful. I'll do the other back, the passenger side back, and it should be all good. Anyway, I'll see all you guys in that video, and then we'll be good to go.